Hey guys, welcome to the GEM, the Grand Enterprises Movement. Our mission is to motivate, to energize, to uplift, to encourage, and of course, to inspire each and every single day. Y'all, I am super duper excited. We got my boy in the building, Mr. Mark V. Smith, y'all. Let's go, let's go. What is up, Mark David?
Hey, how are you, Tammy? It's good to be here with you this evening.
I'm so excited that you are here. You are joining us on the GEM. Welcome to season 3 for those who have been rocking with us from the beginning. We are excited to launch with you, Mark, right in the beginning of season 3. I'm excited for all the wonderful things. We got OG Blue in the building. Shout out to my father, OG Blue. He just chimed in. We got some other viewers here. And shout out to you, Mark. It has been a long awaiting, anticipating event. We have the one and only, y'all, Mark V. Smith. Listen, Mark and I, we go back to where we worked together previously.
Mhm.
We met there and we developed an awesome friendship. And when I say that is because Mark is a selfless person. He's somebody that when you meet him, he will give you the shirt off his back, y'all, like literally. But we met and we were just sharing our testimonies with one another. And after that, we were like, listen, I need you to come on my platform. He was like, I need you to come on my platform. And then he's like, and I'm gonna put you on to other platforms like Black Speakers Network, that's one, BSN, some of the other podcast platforms and things that I've been on, other guests that I've had on. Shout out to Charlie, the real Charlie, and some other guests that know Mark. Mark is such a cool and humble guy, and he's always willing to just do what it takes to help people. But outside of that, Mark got a whole lot of awesome stuff he's here to tell us about today. He's here to tell us about the process. He's here to talk to us about his podcast, radio show, his training program, all the stuff. So, Mark, I'm a brag about you, but tell the people who you are. Let's go.
All right. Again, Tammy, thanks for having me on this evening.
Yes.
Midwest kid, born and raised in the Midwest, spent the majority of my formative years out in Ohio, then relocated, bounced around a couple different places I had to go back and figure out where I was going to best fit in.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of times as we grow mentally and spiritually and physically, we kind of got to continue to pick and choose where it's best for us to land.
Yes.
And life doesn't give you that direction off the bat. You got to go through trials and tribulations. So I'm in the DMV right now. Been here since 2011. Married to a wonderful, wonderful woman who's been supporting me through this whole endeavor. I mean,
Yes. Shout out, wifey.
ups and downs, sleepless nights, getting up in the middle of the night, writing things down just to make sure that I'm able to deliver a message that's going to impact, empower, and enhance somebody's quality of life. So
Mm-hmm.
that's me in a nutshell. I'm sure we're going to get into some nuts and bolts of some other things here in a minute. But again, I'm so happy to be with you this afternoon, this evening.
Absolutely. And I'm happy. I'm excited, y'all. Listen, Mark is a powerhouse. He is being so modest, y'all. Mark is a daggone celebrity. Listen, Mark has been called to many stages across the nation, even internationally. Mark is a public speaker. He goes and he speaks on various topics from self empowerment to just building up the brown and black community to helping out with the workforce and building out our workforce, offering trainings and, just different things to help people feel encouraged, especially in our community. And really, Mark, I know we're going to talk about so much, but talk to people about how you inspire others through like public speaking, but also using your platform.
Well, I think a lot of people in the speaking industry, they become selfish. And for those of you who are listening right now, please hear exactly what I mean and what I say.
Yeah.
There is a lot for everybody to share. Let's just say that everybody has their own best-selling book within themselves. So I truly believe that it's about helping other people as you continue to progress down the ladder. The process started simply by me losing my job in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
I went back and had to revisit some of the things that I was doing because I believe comfort is a casualty of growth. And Tammy, I
Mm-hmm.
got comfortable, and I needed that wake up to get myself up and moving. And I just
Yeah.
remember one day, for my wife went to work, she threw a the Habit poem by
Mm-hmm.
John D. Lemon at
Mm-hmm.
me. I mean, didn't throw it at me. She put it on my lap. So I want you to read
Read
this.
this.
Yeah, read this. And she gave me a kiss and walked out the door. And it talked about, I don't know if the listeners have read that or not, but there's a specific portion in that poem that I always remember. It says, I'm your greatest helper or your worst burden. I will
Mm-hmm.
carry you forward or I will or drag you down to failure. I'm completely at your control. So at that
Mm,
moment, I realized, wait a minute, man, you got to wake up. There's a lot of
mm,
things that you've been building up. Why don't you start writing that information down and why don't you start getting it out there? So I
mm-hmm.
started with a simple YouTube video, simple,
Wow.
YouTube video to say, hey, let's see what can happen. Reached quite a few viewers and follows and likes off of it. Then kept going, kept pushing. Got a lot of no's. Listen,
Mm,
a lot of no's, a lot of no's. You're not ready. A lot of no's. This not your time. And I'm like anybody else. You get a little frustrated. You get a little agitated. You figure, why am I doing this? But internally, I said, I got to keep pushing. I got to keep pushing. I believe in what I'm saying. So to really bring it home, I said, what can I do different than any other
mm,
speaker that's out there? How can I message that will leave them impact? Because we've all heard speakers who come and go. You get there and
mm-hmm.
listen to what they're saying, and you don't remember any of it.
That's so
Okay,
true.
that's it. You listen, okay, he was good, but I can't recall what he said
Mm,
in 2 or 3 weeks. So I said, what about if I did something totally different and created acronyms and
mm-hmm.
built stories around acronyms? Because again, as a former athlete, you know, if you're calling a play, you're calling a play by acronym, or you're getting in a position by acronym, and then you're moving forward because it
Mm,
resonates. So I've been very successful with that, to the point to where, again, as you mentioned, I'm on 2 radio stations, 2 platforms.
yes.
I did a TEDx talk back in 2023,
Yes.
entitled Growth. And you're right, I do. I'm actually preparing the night for a trip to Dallas, Texas, in March, and then back here because I'll be the Not Up conference, who I presented at last year. They reached
Wow.
out to me to present again in Virginia Beach.
Oh.
So it's rewarding to know that the messaging is finally hitting home.
Mm-hmm.
It's making an impact on people, and that's truly what it's about, giving them something to look forward to when they feel they can't look any further.
That's right. That's right. And speaking of the messaging, what type of message do you, and I know like you can speak on so many different topics, and I got you coming to my men's event coming up in the spring, but um what type of messaging do you feel hits home? Like, what has been the thing that sticks with people, or that you feel, what, I'm gonna stick with this particular thing because it always, resonates with people, and you get the most feedback from.
I think it goes to the very beginning. With anything that you have, if you're going to build a house, you got to have a foundation. You can't just,
Hmm.
when you're buying a house and it's a new build, you just can't walk in, turn the key, and it's done. Especially if you're building it from ground floor up. So I felt that, and I didn't know it at the time. My very first message was entitled "Air," accountability,
Wow.
integrity, responsibility, and respect. And if we go back and look at how life is set up and what we need to do in life, everything that we go through, whether it's in workforce, whether it's in relationships, whether it's in our day-to-day job, it's our interaction with anybody and everybody we come across, it's about us being accountable to ourselves and to others.
Hmm.
It's operating with integrity, taking a responsibility to be the best person that we can be, and something that this society right now is starving for, and that's respect. So that was
Mm.
the very first message that I launched in 2020.
Wow.
And still today, people come and tell me, I mean, I was green. I was green recording that message. And people come back to me and say, man, that really makes sense. It hit home. So from that one, I took it. I'm in my 10th season of recording messages for the.
Wow.
So, and
Wow.
this one I think is the most prolific because it really puts a stamp on everything, and it's entitled "Destiny: The Sum of Your Choices."
Mm.
The sum
Mm.
choices. Now, I tell
Mm.
everybody, I don't say that all the choices are good you make. You make some bonehead mistakes in life because that's the only way you're going to grow. But it is still your destiny is going to be defined by the choices that you make. And this series has lasted almost a year. Normally
Wow.
I go through a series and a two series a year, but this one I really wanted to hit home because it's about a change. It's really about changing mentality, changing our direction, changing our vision. Many people can see, but not many have vision. So I want us to
Mm.
have the vision of what's to come.
Absolutely, absolutely. And speaking of change and having a pivot at times, you know, when like you said in 2018, when you had to make that shift or you made a change, you know, what was fueling you besides just wanting to do something different? Why be the messenger?
I felt that I felt selfish. And what I mean by
Mm,
that is I had knowledge and wisdom. If anybody goes and looks at my logo, they'll see two lions. I say
mm-hmm,
those identify knowledge, speak, and wisdom listens. So I had to be
mm,
a voice to be able to share some things to individuals that had been taught to me. As if I didn't, I fail. Les Brown asked a question one time. I remember he said, "What is the wealthiest place in the world?" And a lot of people think, Dubai, they think Africa, they think all different types of physical places. But in all actuality, Tammy, the wealthiest place in the world is the graveyard. That's where
mm.
most dreams lie dormant from people who didn't take
Woo,
advantage of things that they were born to. The cure for cancer is in the graveyard. The
mm,
cure for AIDS is in the graveyard. The cure for every disease that has been introduced in the world is in the graveyard because people didn't follow through and follow their dreams and goals.
mm,
So in 2025, I've dubbed this year as the best is yet to come because I'm
mm,
we're taking the nation by storm this year with messaging, with
mm.
attitude, and deliverance of what needs to be done.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. And see, that's the type of thing that I feel people need to hear. They need to know that, don't sleep on your gift. Your gifts will make room for you if you decide that you want to operate in them. So
Mhm.
with all the many gifts that you have, the talent that you have, everything that has birthed out of you, things that are brewing up inside of you that are still yet to come to life, what do you feel is your greatest success thus far?
Perseverance. Um,
Mm,
being able to continue to turn it on at times that I think that I can't turn it on.
wow.
Because working a full-time job, working in workforce development,
Hmm.
you deal with emotion. You're dealing with people, and anytime you deal with people, you deal with emotion.
Hmm.
So being able to come home, unpack it, leave it where it needs to be, and then get back in here to doing something that I truly, truly know is going to make a difference. Now, that's not saying that the work that we do outside of speaking doesn't make a difference. It's saying that your full-time jobs consume everybody with a numerous amount of hours every single day. And
Yeah.
sometimes you got to get home and answer an email for something or take a phone call. So being able to make sure that I show not just present, I show up and I show up
Hmm.
full, authentic, and ready to go every single place that I go. Every time that I step into public, every time that I step on stage, every time I sit in a meeting, it's go time for me because I never know honestly if that's gonna be my last time to do it.
Mm, man. Man, you dropping so many gems, y'all, here at the gym. Y'all better be tuned in. Listen, that's good stuff. And of course, with great success, we do fail at times. What do you
Mhm.
feel has been one of your biggest failure, and what did you learn from that experience?
I'm gonna say being told no so many times.
Hmm.
I've in the early years, I was sending proposals out. I was jumping to do this, jumping to do that, treating, not giving myself the same respect as a speaker or podcaster that I
Mm,
gave to other people. And
wow.
it took a while for me to really realize that, wait a minute, you got something that's powerful as well. You
Mm,
deserve the same respect and responsibility that you give to everybody else. And
mm,
they can't follow the accountability, integrity, responsibility, and respect that you set forth in your messaging, then Mark, it's time for you to cut bait. And
mm.
making sure that I knew that who was truly in my circle versus who was in my cage. I think as I progressed in speaking, as I progressed, excuse me, in a platform and a stage, there's a lot of people that I had to shut down, because they truly weren't looking for the best for me. They were looking to see what they can get from me. But
Mm,
and that's sad because you said it before. I help anybody.
right.
I want you to win. Because
Mm-hmm.
when you win, you're able to help somebody else.
That's
There's
right.
that old saying, 6 times, 6 separate ways.
Mm-hmm.
I may say it over and over again, but then if you say it or somebody else says it, then it will resonate with that individual, and they're able to apply the messaging that's been sent to them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you said, that sometimes we really don't know what the outcome may be from different situations and obstacles that come our way. Hearing that no can sometimes devastate us. It can turn us away from what we know we're good at, or whatever. But
And
you said,
I didn't mean to
go ahead,
interrupt you.
go ahead.
I still have all those emails from
Oh,
organizations that tell me
wow.
no. You can't. I
Wow.
flag them. So one
Wow.
day, I'm not a vindictive type of person, but there are some organizations that I honestly I can't wait to say when they ask me to come speak. I'm gonna go speak, but I'm also gonna bring that email with them and say, when you turned me down in 2022, do you remember that?
Right, right.
Mhm,
Yeah, because people can't see sometimes past their own self, right?
mhm, mhm,
And one of the things that I can truly appreciate about you, and this goes into my next question about one of the best compliments that somebody can give you, or that you've ever received, I will say that to me is you can see past yourself. You can
mhm.
see beyond, whatever it is that Mark V. Smith is doing right now. You can see beyond yourself, and you can see, what, Tammy, hey, check this out, or what, so and so, check this out, and you connect people. You do all of this in the background, and you like, what, I don't need nothing in return. I just
Mhm,
want to get you to where, because the game you giving is free game. You know what I
mhm.
mean? To help somebody else to grow in whatever way that they possibly can. And that I commend you on that. But my question to you is, what's the biggest compliment you ever heard besides just what I gave you?
Um, wow. Um, I'm gonna definitely say when I did the TEDx talk, when the producers of TEDx sent me an email and said that was probably one of the most powerful videos that they'd ever seen in their life, because I told a story. And, all my messages are story filled, but
Yes.
I told a story about the time that my father passed away, and the weeks leading on up to it, and I entitled that message "Growth," which I said was gradual reminder obstacles will test hope. And I
Mm,
tied in how that particular incident made me grow.
wow.
It wasn't so much the loss of my father. It was more on the knowledge, capturing the knowledge and wisdom that he gave me in those 62 short years. What all
Mm,
did he give me? I tell a lot of people we live life a long time with blinders on.
mm-hmm.
Messaging that's being given to us every single day. It's how you internally process it. I
Right.
told my wife about a year ago, 2 years ago, we were talking about jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And I always think about my very first job when I was 14 years old. Now, check this out. I had to get picked to work as a construction worker at 14 years old for a park. So every morning at 6 o'clock, we would have to go out there and we'd have to work at a park to build a trail for people to walk on eventually. And this
Uh-huh.
was, I'm not going to tell the year, it was a long time ago.
Don't tell your age. Don't tell your
A
age.
long time ago. But I thought about it. We had nothing but a rake, we had nothing but a shovel, and we had nothing but a wheelbarrow. So we had to build 2 miles of walking track and
Mm,
basically clear out brush, debris, and everything. But
mm,
doesn't isn't that what we're doing every day in life? We're clearing out
mm,
brush, debris, people. We're clearing things out for past, not
mm.
just for us, but for those that are coming behind us. So those are
Wow.
those are types of things that I'm
Wow.
talking about. At 14, I was learning a lot. There was a message being sent to me then that I didn't get. So
Hmm.
that's what I'm talking about. We all have to be more aware, more cognizant of the messaging that's around us, and be ready to move to the next level with that.
Yeah, man, I respect that. And again, when I know you, when you think of the acronyms, you're applying it to real life situations.
Hmm.
So, guys, what I'm saying, Mark is bringing up acronyms that you might have heard some, but the way that you put them, like air and growth, it's the way the words that you're using are different. We
Hmm.
we can hear those things all the time, but it's different. And what I want to ask is, like, from your life experiences, what gems were dropped in your life that made you be like, you know what? I want to make sure I drop these nuggets, these gems, these acronyms to help people to grow, to help people to remember air, to help people remember to breathe, to help people remember the process.
Right.
What were some gems that were dropped in your life that resonated with you, that helped you to on this journey?
I remember sitting at the top of the stairs in my parents' home when I was a kid, maybe 9, 10 years old. My father was an avid Cleveland Brown fan. So every Sunday he would have his friends come over and I would ear hustle at the top of the stairs to listen exactly what they were talking about and just being nosy as a kid. But they knew I was at the top of the stairs. So they would talk about different things that are important in life, about
Mm-hmm.
how to be a better person, how to be a
Yeah.
better man, what types of things to stay away from, what type of people to stay away from. These were gems that they were dropping all back in the 70s, in the early
Mm-hmm.
80s, and I'm just sitting there trying to absorb it. And again, I wrote a series in one of my messages in the process. If I only knew then what I know now, and I
Mm.
think about I dialogue a lot about some of the things that they said that came to fruition, and it's like,
Wow.
man, it's not if you get it, it's when you get it. So
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna get it one way or the other. You're gonna get it. So just those types of acronyms. Listening to other speakers sometimes help. Elizabeth Warren, she is a workforce development speaker. I remember hearing her a long time ago. She said, "Mark, let me give you a little insight. I want you to start to be able to teach it quick so it will stick." And
Oh,
I was
okay.
like, "What do you mean by that?" She said, "You'll get it. If you continue to develop, you'll get those things that you can do, little small nuggets, and you can build things around them." And that's
Mm.
some of my acronyms are
Mm.
with that mentality. If I teach it quick, it's gonna stick.
That is so true.
So that's it. I mean, I got to the point after, I'm gonna say, age 40, that I truly only 2 years ago, right?
Right.
That I actually listened. Really
Mm.
listen. I listened to understand,
Mm.
not listen to be listening, and it's made a difference in my life.
I love that. I love that. And I love the reference of going back and reflecting on, your childhood, or, as a young adult, maybe experiences that you had that led to this moment, right? And if
Mhm.
you could go back to your 18-year-old self and be like, man, let me tell you some things, what would be the message, and what would you want your 18-year-old self to know that you know now that you wanted to get back then?
The essence of protecting my peace.
Mm.
Protecting my peace. As a athlete, I was a very decorated athlete when I was coming out of school and in little league, and people used that to get them to get to advance their agendas, and I
Mm.
wasn't wise enough to see that, and I allowed myself to get involved with individuals who truly didn't have my best interests in heart. So
Mm.
I would go back and tell Mark, I said, listen, you need to follow your own agenda and your own plan. Continue
Mm.
to surround yourself with positive older people who've walked the walk before, who've been in the game for a period of time, and listen, truly listen to what you're being told, and not think that you know everything. Because again,
Mm.
I was a little smart kid. I did, I was an athlete. I was good. You couldn't tell me nothing. And that was not protecting my peace. I left myself exposed, and those
Mm.
exposures happened, and I paid dearly for a lot of that as well. So I would tell him to wake up and protect his
Wow.
peace.
Wow. Wake up and protect his peace. Okay, that's a gem. That's a gem. That's a gem. And speaking of, like you mentioned your dad and other, a couple other people, but who were some of the most influential people in your life, coming up, from that beginning stage, like you said, just listening in of
Mhm.
the gems that your dad and them would be dropping. But as a young adult and then as an adult, who were some of those influential people and why?
There were three men. I actually, there's really more than three. There are
Mm-hmm.
one would be my grandfather, John
Mm-hmm.
Nichols. My grandfather was no nonsense, but he was funny. You know, he literally was a practical joker, but he also was very, very serious about respect. You
Mm-hmm.
didn't deviate. If he told you to do something, you needed to get it done, and not at your time frame when he told you to get it done. There was a story that me and my one of my cousins, I was about 10 or 11 years old. He told us he had a big pond at the end of their yard, and they had fish in the pond. So he told us to never go fishing on Sunday. You'll catch the devil. And
Mm-hmm.
we thought we were smart, but smart kids. So we went out. We went out one night about 12 o'clock in the 12 midnight, 1 o'clock, and we threw our poles in the water. And all of a sudden, we saw a little head or something raised out of the water, and it was a water moccasin that was coming straight for us. And
Mm-hmm.
we freaked out and started to we froze literally, and then literally all I heard behind me was a gunshot, pow, and my grandfather had shot and killed a water moccasin, and he said, "I told you never go fishing on Sunday," and turned and walked away. So it's just those types of lessons. The second one would be my dad. Needless to say, that was my hero. He worked a lot of hours. He wasn't perfect, far from perfect, but he worked a lot of hours to make sure that we were taken care of. And
Mm-hmm.
I'd give anything to have a conversation for him to say, I'm
Wow.
proud of where you become and what you've done.
Mm,
And the last one I would probably say was my junior high football coach, Wayne
mm,
Mixon. He
mm,
treated every kid like they were his son. I mean, he
mm,
took time to talk to them about elements of life, not
mm,
football. The importance of going to school, the importance of teaching how to be a gentleman, the importance of knowing etiquette, the importance of opening doors. He taught morals, not so much values. He taught the morals of society to us when we 13, 14, 15 years old. So those
mm,
would be a couple of them. I could go on and on and on because a lot of them were influential in my life. It's just those that just jump out and say, man, they set me on a path, a trajectory as I look back at it.
yeah. You know, as a black man and a man in general, it's I know sometimes it can be challenging to see young men who don't have the male role models, right? They're being raised in a single mom household or, being raised by grandma or somebody else. And it's not, they don't have that male influence that you had. What would you say to those young men who don't have that influence that, you know, need to hear a word of encouragement or just need to be inspired and know that, as a young man, so to speak, that even if they don't have the male influence, their outcomes could still be great.
Call me. Call me. No, I would seriously suggest. I think there's somebody in their family or their family dynamics that if they reach out to and let them know what they have questions about, how do things evolve, what are some of the best practices as a man. I think if they reached out to them and put that out there, then a male figure, male role model, a cousin, an uncle, a grandfather, a pastor, or somebody would mentor them and get them where they need to go. There's still, it's funny, boys and girls clubs haven't gone anywhere. It's still in existence.
Right.
Those young men can go to
Love the
there.
Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah, yeah, they can go there and find plenty of mentors. Your rec centers, recreation centers. There's
Mhm.
volunteers. Some of these men and women that volunteer are in high school. So again, they could be the mentor for them. I don't think it's an excuse, Tammy. I think that if
Mm.
they truly want it, if they truly want to find success in their life, then they need to reach out. And I can speak for most men do not want to ask for help,
Yeah.
and that starts at an early age. You're taught to suck it up. Suck it up. You're a man. Don't do this. No, you have vulnerabilities. You have questions.
Mhm.
You need that guidance, and I definitely implore everybody to seek that guidance from someone who, I don't want to say they admire, but someone who they feel will give them a true answer to what they need.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good stuff. Um, Tell me about anybody in history that you would sit down with and have coffee with and just have a conversation. And what would that conversation be about?
You know, I
Yes.
I would have to say Kobe Bryant. And I say Kobe Bryant because he let nobody outwork him. Nobody. He would finish a game at 11 o'clock at night, go in and shower, come back out, and then ball to 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Work on his game, work on his craft. He would study the game. He would, when people would go out and go party, he'd be in the gym, working on his craft. And that's just a true testament to something that you will put in work if you truly want something. If you don't want it, then you'll cut corners. But
Mhm.
I would literally ask him what his true motivation was. Was it just to be the best that you could be? Was it to set an example? Was it to leave a legacy for young men and women? Because again, there's women that model
Yeah.
themselves after him as well. What would be the guiding force that you had internally that you potentially can share that somebody else could tap in?
Hmm.
It would be Kobe.
Man, that's good. That's good. And and that's, I mean, we talk about the mamba. He is it. He is it. Um, what is one piece of advice that you would give somebody that's just starting out with public speaking or just starting out like you did on a path of, wanting to be independent in some way as an entrepreneur or whatever? What would you advise them to do? What is like some of the steps that they should take, you know, so that they could be accomplished in some of those areas?
Like Nike says, just do it. There's no,
Just do it, y'all.
yeah, there's no right or wrong way. This is an industry that you learn by making mistakes. You
Yeah.
truly
Yes, that is
learn.
so true.
But the great thing about it is when you're on stage or if you're doing a podcast or if you're just speaking, nobody knows it if you mess up but you. You're the
That's so
only one.
true.
You're the only one that's going to
Oh.
know that I shouldn't have said I didn't mean it by that way. But
Hmm.
as you continue to get better and get wiser and more comfortable with it, then you'll know how to articulate certain things to make sure that you're conveying your messages. So I would say do it. Don't hesitate. Do it because you might have something that somebody else truly needs to hear.
Yeah.
And why would you want to hold that in? Again, to me, that's selfish. And if we're all
Hmm.
taught to be selfless, then you just need to get on the microphone, sit down. You sing in the shower, you sing in the car. Get on the microphone and express your thoughts to people, and at least you're getting it out of yourself, right? You're not
Yeah.
holding that inside you anymore.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I could tell you, getting behind the mic, and as you and I both know, it is so rewarding. It is
Yeah,
so, if it's your thing, some
yeah,
people are not built for that public speaking or public interfacing in that way. But for people like you and I, it just works,
yeah,
man. Like, and I love that you enjoy inspiring people. When I say inspire 24/7, like you are the epitome of that. And I have to say that you do like you really truly genuinely inspire people, and you're resilient, and I don't want to get into your personal business too much, but I know that you recently overcome some things, and God is using you even in that space. And as you've overcome, what you recently just went through, to still be a pillar in the community, still speaking to people, encouraging other men, just like all the goodness, right?
Mhm.
That gift that's in you is just coming out. And kudos to you, and much props to you. And I just pray that you continue with that. But what do you want your legacy to be? Because you have like really, you do a lot, and I do not see you slowing down. And I know this year
The
it's
best
about to
is
be
yet to come.
amazing.
The best
This
is yet
this
to
year,
come.
yeah, this year is about to be amazing. And like y'all, we in the first quarter, and we just getting started. But yeah, tell us, what do you want your legacy to be? What do you want people to remember you by?
I want them to believe and understand that hard work pays off. That
Mm-hmm.
there's no such thing as I can't. You know,
Mm-hmm.
when no matter what you go through, you're gonna get through. Our track record of getting through things is 100%. The
Yes.
results may not be what we liked, but we got through, and we're gonna
Yes.
continue to get through. And I would also ask them to please surround yourself with like-minded people. People,
That's
if there's that old saying, what if you got five dummies if you're a room with five dummies, you're the sixth, because you shouldn't be there. You shouldn't be there.
right.
So surround yourself with people that truly have your best interest. Find your soulmate. Again, I was blessed to find mine. Find She's supportive. You got to have somebody that's in your corner. You have to. Whether it's whether it's a church member, whether it's a family member, whether it's a good friend. And don't get it twisted, family don't have to be blood, right? So if
Mm,
you got somebody
that part.
that's truly in your corner, embrace that, because again, many people don't have that. There's an old saying that even on our worst day, that somebody would envy and love to be in the shoes that we're in.
Yeah.
And I really
Yeah.
try. I've been really, really, really trying to hold on to that mentality, because a lot of times we see things that are bleak, or that we just don't understand. But then you go back and look at, I got a roof over my head, man.
Mm,
I can eat today. My
mm,
lights are on. I mean, there's so many small things that I had to get better at embracing and challenging. So I want my legacy to be somebody that was selfless, somebody that's
yeah.
appreciative, somebody that worked extremely hard to help others be successful, and somebody that left a lasting impact for not my grandkids, but for my great grandkids to be successful in life.
That's right. That's right, man. That's good stuff. Oh, man, I'm telling you, somebody said that's good stuff, even on the chat. Um, man, if there was any question that you wish that I would have asked you tonight, what would it be? What would it be? Because we still going through questions. I can still ask it, but what
um,
would it
I,
be?
I really don't. I mean,
Yeah.
you and I have dialogued a lot. I would just ask every man. 1 out of 8 men will succumb to prostate cancer. And I think that's what you were alluding to before. And
Mhm.
I'll put it out there with the listeners, because again, I made it a
Yeah.
point to where I'm going to do a
Yeah.
prostate symposium before the end of 2025,
Yes.
to have men come in and speak their truth about it. But
Hmm.
the unknown is scary. It's
Yeah.
truly scary. And then I had the knowledge in the back of my head that I lost my father at age 62 of with prostate
Mm.
cancer. So I would just say to every man, please be aware and do what you need to do to have that, have it checked. It's
Yeah.
not a doomsday prognosis if you do come up with it. There are so many different remedies now, so many different treatment plans that you can utilize.
Mm.
So get yourself in this a prostate men support group. Um,
Hmm.
these are some key things that if we want to actually make a deep impact on our community and our legacy, then we have to make sure that we're following what should be done, and we're showing
Mm.
our younger generations that you're not scared to take care of your health, right? you
That's
you,
right.
you want to be there to help them out. So that would probably be something that we didn't discuss, that I think is important, that every man embrace that. Don't be scared to get it done. And if you have questions about it, you call. Well, I said it before. Call me.
Call me. See, y'all, that's what I be talking about. He is so selfless. He is so selfless. Like he means that. He means that. And at the end, we're gonna get to the contact information because I want y'all to follow him and everything because Mark is so humble and so cool. Like he literally means that. Like call me.
Mhm.
What other do you listen to other podcasts or other shows that inspire you? And
I
if so,
listen.
what are your
I
top
listen to
three?
yours.
Hey.
You know what? I sometimes I'll bounce around and listen to, Eric Thomas. I love ET.
Yeah,
ET does. He's a powerful speaker. He
yeah.
says a
Very.
lot of things. Trent Shelton is
Mm-hmm.
phenomenal. I mean, Trent breaks it
Mm-hmm.
down and
Yeah.
leaves you with no doubt of what you need to be doing. But again,
Mm-hmm.
my all-time favorite, again, that I still would listen to and go to, and a lot of people don't know, he used to be a DJ in Columbus, Ohio, my hometown, is Les Brown.
Les Brown.
Les Brown started out at WVKO in Columbus, Ohio, as a disc
Wow.
jockey.
What?
So I've been following him for many years since I was a kid.
Wow. 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 So y'all got to check out some new podcasts, man, because and some of these people, I mean, really are great speakers, but they are very wise. They speak from a place of wisdom, life experience, and all of that.
Mhm.
And of course, your own platforms. So definitely, I want you to share where people can find you. Where are you? What projects you got going on? Just kind of wrap us up with all the goodness that Mark V. Smith got going
Man,
on, y'all.
I got, as I told at the beginning, I got a lot going on right
A
now, and
lot,
it's
y'all.
it's good to be busy in that
Yes, it is.
retrospect. I mean, from still on Star 107 FM. First and
Mm-hmm.
foremost, if you go to my website, you go to the processmarksmith.com. Then at the
Mm-hmm.
top, or excuse me, down at the bottom now, because I revamped my website.
Oh,
Down at the
of course,
bottom,
use
down
us.
at the bottom, they have all my social media links. So you can click on one, and it'll take you right to my social media.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of there now, actually, there's the link for Star 107 and the link for WDJY 99.1 FM Atlanta. Shout out to you. Um,
Oh yeah.
there's a link that automatically goes right to their station as well. And I also have the link right there for my TEDx talk. So individuals can go to my website, click that link, and then they can actually see the TED talk that's out there as well. What I got going on, man, I have the Coalition of Adult Basic Education. I'm speaking, wrapping their conference up on April 2nd.
Wow.
May 4th, 5th, May 5th, 6th, 7th, I'm in Virginia Beach at the National Association of Workforce Development Professionals, speaking
Mm-hmm.
on a topic that a lot of people need to hear, and that's keep your fork at 50 plus. The best is yet to come. So I'm going to talk
Mm.
about individuals 50 and above in the workforce, and
Oh
how
wow.
we need to pivot sometimes and change some things. And it's going to be talking to some of the younger men and women as well, because you got to know how to deal with us. You got to know how
Mm.
you got to know how to be helped. You got to help. And I mean, again, I'll be in Houston. I'll be in. Wow, the schedule's full for the
I
next
love that.
for the next few. On top of continuing to write, to put more podcast information out there, have great guests on the show like you, and
Mm.
the plan is to sit down with the missus and create our book. That's the
Yes.
finishing touch.
Yes. Oh, can't wait. Can't wait. And where can people find you at Mark V. Smith?
Go to my website. Go to the processmarksmith.com, and you can get it. I mean, you go. There's links on my website for you to go to tune in, and you can hear my messages. You can go to iHeartRadio. You can go to uh, all the platforms, Spotify, all of them, and just type in Mark Smith the process, and you're able to find all my messages from 2020 all the way to today, to new one
Wow.
that's going to be released this Saturday.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Talk about some history, man. I'm trying to be like you when I grow up.
You can take the torch. You got it. You can take
Listen,
it.
I'm only on season 3, y'all. We just getting started with
But you
season
know what?
3.
That's kudos to you, because honestly, most podcasts only last for 18 months and then they go away.
Really?
Yeah, then they go away. Most podcasters only stick in
Look
it
at
for
my
18
camera.
months. Yeah.
See y'all. This is why y'all go live. This is why y'all go live. You see all good. I'm not even look, courtesy of StreamYard. Oh my goodness, y'all. Oh my. But it's all good. It is all
Oh,
good.
of course, it's all
We ain't
good.
mad at it. We ain't mad at it. I'm just trying to turn my camera. I'm just gonna leave the camera alone. It is what it is. It is what it is.
So look, as a speaker, you pivot. You just pivot and keep going.
You pivot, right? But it's
Hmm.
all good. Um,
You're on
thing.
mute. There you go.
Yeah, so but it's all good. Um, listen, this camera thing is
It's all right. It's all
I'm
right.
telling you, you gotta love
There you
technology,
go.
y'all.
There you go.
Am I upward?
Yep.
Okay, I think I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
There you go. You
We
got it.
are back.
You got it. You
Only
got
at the gym, y'all. Only at the gym will you find cameras flipping upside down and doing what the heck they want to do.
listen, listen. That's what we talked about.
Thank
Sometimes
you,
you
Evelyn. Shout
you
out
you
to Evelyn.
you,
She's
you,
coming
you
up on here.
sometimes you got to pivot. Sometimes you got to move things around. So that's all right. It's all
That's
right.
right. Listen, we ain't even mad at it. Listen, I love doing this, and I love people like you that do this. We definitely, appreciate you, all of what you brought with you today. I know this is just the beginning. You and I, we stay in touch and stay in contact, but you've already told our listeners where to find you. I'm excited for what you're doing. I know what's ahead. Listen, y'all, I'm going to have Mark at our men's conference. I'm doing a men's conference in the near future. It is an acronym. It's called Male Ego, EGO,
Woo.
dealing with male ego. But,
Look, you gave me one of my acronyms that I could talk about there.
see?
I already did. Look, you gave me one. Pride. Hmm.
Oh, y'all, so stay tuned because we got a men's event coming up. I'm excited. The G.E.M is going to be doing more events, and Mark, we'll talk about some of our
Yes.
partnership and things like that. But I am so glad that you graced us with your presence today. I'm so excited. Thank you, thank you, thank you for starting off season 3 just in your Mark V. Smith style. Y'all, make sure you guys follow him at the process. Make sure you go to his website. Make sure you actually listen to his content because he has some really good stuff. We did an interview a while back. We talked about, life stuff or whatever, but there's so much other stuff like, the acronyms, but all of the really good the meat and potato stuff, right, Mark?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely listen and follow along. Because listen, knowledge is definitely power, and I know that's a cliche, but it's real. And we want people to follow, listen, tune in, chime in. You're on the radio too, so people can definitely listen there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we appreciate you and we love you, Mark, for
Thank
joining us
you.
today.
I
Thank you,
truly
thank you,
appreciate it.
thank
If I can leave with one word, it's what I
you. Yes.
always close. What I always close with any one of my messages. I always say, or my tagline is, "Your why is greater than your situation," which is part of your process. So
Mm,
discover. Everybody knows why they do what they do. And no matter what happens, when things don't go the way you feel they should go, remember your why, because it's always going to be greater than your situation, and it's part of your
mm,
process of evolution. So remember that.
Remember your why. Yes. Well, listen, y'all heard it first right here at the gym. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Mark Smith. We appreciate
Thank
you.
you,
God
Tammy. It was
bless
an honor.
you. Yes, continue to inspire 24/7. Stay blessed.